Never trip about a clone, cause they know what's a sheep to a goat. Yeah. Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't make it then. In their heads, living free, I ain't paying rent. Wake up in the AM making G's like Mercedes-Benz.
Welcome to the first ever podcast of We Bleed Blue. My name's Jake McDonald.
Eric Quelch.
We're diehard Leaf fans, and the reason we're starting this podcast is because we've seen the narrative in Toronto is so hateful towards the Leafs, the way the media spins everything, as well as I've just seen a lot of poser Leaf fans, I guess is the best way to put it. Yeah, with that being said, welcome to the podcast, Eric. How are we doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so this is actually going to be probably the most exciting offseason we've seen in a while. Give us a rundown. We're going to be co-hosting this, and so give us a rundown of your background as a Leaf fan.
All right, so I was basically born into the whole Leaf land. I grew up, my grandmother has always been a diehard Leaf fan. Growing up, I always, I just spent a lot of time on my dad's side of the family. Almost every weekend it would be like hockey night and Leaf, or my grandma would be yakking about the Leafs. So I grew up just remembering watching the Doug Gilmour era, it transitioned into the Sundin era, and that's kind of when I fell in love with the Leafs, and I kind of got more into watching hockey in my adult years and took it a little bit more seriously with my fandom. And that was around the time where the Leafs choked to the Bruins when we had Kessel, Bozak, Lupul, Van Riemdijk. That those guys, I don't know. I've just been basically a Leaf fan my whole life. That's just you just once a Leaf fan, you're always a Leaf fan.
Yeah, that's why I always call it a cult, right? Because it's you were kind of born into it, and I could never be another hockey fan team. I feel like I've wanted to jump off this bandwagon before, and I'm just I can't do it. I just can't. And I was saying this to somebody else. It's like all these people that go on about the Leafs, even all these executives, all this stuff, they have not been part of the organization. There's nobody in the organization right now that's been part of this organization longer than I have been a fan.
That's true, actually, when I think about it, yeah.
Yeah, and so all these people that are oh, they don't care about this team. It's they don't care about the team as much as the fans care about this team. And that's why has what driven me back to doing this podcast, is because I'm sick of listening to this narrative, all these negative fucking media people and we have to change the narrative on that. And I've heard Hockey Illuminati, I've heard Coach Chippy say this, a couple other guys that are really starting to turn their look on the Leafs to positive, because all these, and you've said it before, I've heard you multiple times, is you said where these mainstream Leaf media guys are just so toxic to the team.
I agree. Listening to podcasts, that consumes a lot of my days, listening to not only Toronto media, but hockey media in general. And I noticed for a long time, it's just been exactly what you're saying. The attitude towards the Leafs and the stories that kind of get pushed sometimes, I feel just create distractions from the real problems, or they get kind of pushed a little bit too much, in my opinion, or there's just a lot of unnecessary negativity towards things. Sometimes it drives me nuts, because there's other things we could be discussing, or I don't know. Toronto is just too over-analyzed at times, and sometimes I think that's one of their downfalls as a team and an organization. So,
yeah, and I mean, I think it's the same as the Yankees or the Dallas Cowboys, and look at, I mean, all those teams, they have a similar issue in the sense that they are the mecca of their sport, and they expect big things, but also a lot of these teams, the Yankees, a little bit more, but all these teams really haven't performed. They haven't won a championship. I don't know. I don't remember the last time Yankees have won. I know they've won in the modern era, but the Dallas Cowboys really haven't. It's been forever. And the Leafs, I feel bad for these guys that come in and have to take on this burden. We need some guys to actually take on the burden. You always hear them come in and say, that's not really to do with me. No, fuck that. I want to see a guy come in and be yes, I'm going to fucking come win Toronto Cup, and I'm going to take on the burden of the last 50 years and just get it done.
Yeah. Well, fucking hopefully Sundin's going to do that now. But I don't know,
Yeah,
even this recent hire, I don't know. Sundin's a great addition. Chaika, I don't know. I feel like they could have, I don't know, we'll have to see. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. There was better choices.
Yes, I think that I at first I was this was a worst case scenario, honestly, when I looked at who we were going to see or whatever, or who could have been the options. I like Pronger, but I don't know if he was interested. We don't know what looked like on both sides. And to be looking at this roster, to be honest with you, before we got this first overall pick, it was pretty gloomy to see like, okay, well, you're looking at Matthews wanting to leave possibly, and then Nylander with the finger last year, and just like his whole demeanor, as much as he's a great player. I don't know how many GMs are really jumping at the chance maybe to take over this roster, especially with the bare bones in the cupboard for draft picks.
Yeah, yeah. If like any GM that would be coming to Toronto or interested in Toronto, that's a problem. But like on the positive side is if you're the GM of Toronto, you've basically just hit, in my opinion, the jackpot. Like comparing to other teams, this might be some bias, obviously being a Leaf fan, but there's no other team and no other organization, in my opinion, that's as big as the Leafs. So that's like, if you go to the Leafs and have experience, that's just going to set you up for, I would say, some success, even if you were to leave. Let's just take Chris Pronger. Like, he's never been a general manager. I know I've heard whispers that he's learning the trade, but if that would have been his first job and say in 5 years he failed, he can go anywhere and probably like it's just going to improve his, career. So I think that's like that kind of brings some interest where, because I've heard that they had over 20 guys that they were interested in. So there was like,
Yeah, I think
I'm not
I
an
heard
insider,
26 or
but
something.
yeah, between like, I don't know if that's 26 GM positions or if that was the combination of the two positions. You know what I mean? Because there were, but Mats Sundin was probably like, I've heard him say that he had interviews 18 months ago. Like he's had dinner, sat down with the MSLE, and I'm having a brain fart of Buddy's name, right? Keith Pelly. I always want to call him Smith Pelly. Keith Pelly. Yeah, so like that's been kind of lined up as far as I know for a while, but as far as the GM position, like I said, I heard like Donor was a candidate, I heard, and that's one of the reasons why I guess I might be misheard. It's kind of jumping off the bandwagon because they did Donor dirty, apparently. But I don't know, some of those guys, like me personally, I always liked the idea of a guy that was a hockey player transitioning into a GM, like think of like Sakic, right? Like even though Yzerman hasn't had a lot of success, right?
Yzerman's had success in Tampa, though.
Right? Yeah, so like he built that team up before he left, like. But I've always liked that idea because I figured with the proper training and the proper staff that you surround those guys with, you could take someone that hasn't had GM experience, let's say like managing businesses and stuff, still, I think have success in hockey. But that's my opinion.
I think it just depends on the individual. Like a Joe Sakic and Steve Yzerman, are great players. But then you see like a Wayne Gretzky that tried to coach and couldn't coach. Like he just wasn't a great coach. Because he was so good naturally, right? It's kind of just being a teacher. But the structure of the team though was a little bit differently. Yzerman basically built that Lightning dynasty, and he just hasn't had the same success in Detroit. But this is where it comes down to when you're rebuilding, like you see it with the Leafs too, is like if you don't build it around the right guys, you're going to cost yourself a decade. So that's just kind of a gamble you're taking.
That's true. So I don't even think the Red Wings are going to make playoffs next year, bud. Look at the Atlantic Division.
The Atlantic divisions, they need to get rid of this garbage, these divisions. To be honest with you, just go back to East versus West. Like I don't like them personally.
Yeah, top 16 teams.
Yeah, just everybody play each other the same amount.
Like top 8 from each side. Like that, I would think that would be none of this wild card. Just take the top 8 seeds versus the top 8 seeds and just do it like that. I don't know.
No, absolutely.
We might see that one day when Gary Bettman steps down. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, and like I always say, I hear Ryan Whitney say this is like top 1 through 16 would be ideal in a sense, other than times for games and stuff. But if you want to get completely fair, it would be and then you could have more East teams in or more West teams in, and with especially if you had everybody just play each other even amount of times. Realistically, I think that we need to go back to East versus West. That's just more realistic to get to, and I think that it's the way it should be anyway. This new format, and it's not new anymore, but it sucks, man. I fucking hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we keep staying the same. I think the older way would bring back, like for the last bunch of years, it's always like the same, feels like we have the same matchups all the time. And I get like one of the arguments I hear is, oh, we're trying to create rivalries. Like, essentially, it's like, look for how many years people out west watch the Oilers versus the Kings, right? For a while in
Yeah, but
Leafland, it was like, oh, we're just gonna play the Bruins. Like every year, it's just the Bruins first
But
round.
that's the thing is like, wouldn't it mean more if they lost the Bruins in a conference final rather than a fucking first round? You know what I mean? And you see these matchups not just in the East. Like let's put the East up to bed for a minute, but even over in the West, you've seen Edmonton and LA play what 3 years in a row. Like eventually, it's like okay, we're done. We don't want to see this again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why, like, I think, I don't know. I don't watch the West, unfortunately, as much, but like, I feel like it's the same, unless different teams get in. But like, we're looking at the Atlantic Division and the Metro, it's been pretty much the same 8 teams for the longest time, and it's either like one Pittsburgh plays like Washington or whatever for a while there, or like this year it was nice to see Pittsburgh versus Philly. But even if, let's just say Pittsburgh's a good team for the next couple of years, and so is Philly, the 2, 3 seeds, we're just gonna see them every year. Whereas like if we took 1 through 16 this year, I think we would have different matchups, but I'd have to double check. I know last year a lot of it was actually like it didn't matter if we did 1 through 8, it was going to be the same matchups, but you would have had 1 or 2 in there that it would have been just different, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, last year though was even like a little bit of the changing of the guard a little bit, like how Ottawa get in. We started to see some new teams in. Like for a long time, it was basically Tampa, Toronto, Boston as those top three teams, right? And we're starting to see a little bit of a change of guard, especially this year. This year, the whole thing's flipped. And I think that Toronto still could be competitive next year, depending on what they do in the offseason. But at the same time, I am on the fence where it's like, should we just start a rebuild now? Why are we going to go through this with this same team again and, try to make another run with guys that just, I don't know if they are the guys to do it. Like I just mentioned, where if you bet on the wrong guys, you're in for a decade of kind of heartbreak. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that the Leafs should be starting to look into a full rebuild now, or should we try to roll the dice and go? And that really does come down to if, let's hypothetically say Matthews and Nylander are willing to waive their no moves, right? That's where it comes down to.
Yeah, so I put a little bit of thought in this because now, especially with Chaika and his reputation of not being afraid to make trades, in a weird way, I kind of like that, is because the last couple years with Tree Living, it felt like he was afraid to pull the trigger a little bit. So let's talk Matthews. So with Matthews, 2 years left, is he going to stay even if we get McKenna? I honestly don't know. And the reason why I say that is since we've drafted Matthews, I feel like there's been a good percentage of Leafs Nation, Leaf fans out there who truly never thought he would stay. Let's just face it. Like he's from the States. I could see him going to the States, a state team, right? So now that we got 2 years left with him, if he's willing to waive his no trade clause, like we can get, I've seen people disagree with this, but I feel like we could get some good assets. Like one I was mentioning, I was talking to some guy at work about this and this is just crazy to kind of maybe consider, but maybe too early, with Vancouver picking up a bunch of those prospects for the Quinn trade. They're a rebuilding team. They need center depth. Maybe they would be interested in Matthews, right? Would Matthews be interested going there? I don't know. That's a different story, but one of the Leafs need is defense. Like everyone's been talking about, we need a puck moving defense. We need a great defenseman. We could always use Matthews to pick up something like that, or Nylander. Because if we do get McKenna, I would say the better swap would be get rid of maybe Nylander and have McKenna replace his role. But there could be a lot of debate about that. This is just me shooting ideas out in the air. But ultimately, I think the Leafs would be more beneficial to retool than to rebuild, just because of the assets that we do in draft stock that we do have. Like the Leafs have never really been that good at drafting, to be honest. Like every talent I feel like we've got, like Sandin, like I feel like we've had decent puck moving defensemen, or that could morph into that role, not be like a Cale Makar, but a serviceable defenseman. And we've got rid of those guys. We've got rid of a lot of our good draft stock in the past that Dubas has got. As much as people don't like every pick Dubas has got, I feel like he did a decent job. But so unless Toronto can like hit on the second round and get like the Lane, what's his name from Montreal, Lane Hudson, like he was a second rounder.
Hudson,
Yeah, like that's a good hit, but I feel like Toronto could do something like that, like find a good D-man and just get him through the system, man, and get him up there.
Well, I'm gonna run through the last 20 draft picks. Like it's the last 20 first round Leaf draft picks, okay? So 2005 was Rask, so big, but they traded him away. Horrible. Jiri Tlusty, which I don't even know who that is, to be honest with you, off the top of my head. Luke Shen, good, but that ended up didn't staying. 2009 was Kadri, which has been a pretty decent player. Stuart Percy, again, not great. Tyler Beggs, not great. Morgan Riley, probably their best, maybe their best defensive draft pick
Yeah,
that
I
I
think
can
so.
remember. William Nylander in 2014, Mitch Marner in 2015, Austin Matthews in 2016, Liljegren in 2017 probably was not a great one.
He
Sandine,
if you remember real quick, Lindgren that year was
yeah,
projected to go 2,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah, I
he
know.
slipped to 17 because of,
Yeah, but
like, injuries and stuff.
whatever happened to him? Like I don't even really.
It
I know
is
he got traded and
from
then
what he's on San Jose now.
Okay, okay. I'll have to look him up actually. Then you got Sandine, which not horrible. 2020 was
I really liked him.
Amarov. Amarov
But he
15th
passed
overall.
away. He passed away, I think. That's the
Oh,
one
okay.
passed away when
Okay.
he was,
Oh,
like,
yes. Yes. I do remember that. And then you got 2023. So they didn't have a first rounder for 2021, 22. And then 2023, they had Cowan, which I like that pickup actually at 28th. And then in 2024 they had Ben Danford, which what happened to him? And he was a 34 first pick.
I think he's been in the system playing for the
Yeah.
Marlies, if I remember
Okay.
correctly. He's supposed to be a
Pretty
serviceable
good.
guy, like a decent stud, I've heard.
I'll have to look him up. And then 2025 they didn't get a first rounder. So this is the problem that we're running into is that we don't have any first round picks. Like they've traded them all away. It's crazy. And the trades they've made have just been not great, you know? Like they
No.
haven't turned out right. Like the Scott Lawton one, I said it when you remember this. I said it when it happened. I was like, this trade is gonna haunt them forever. Like this is gonna be one of those, this is a Tyler Seguin kind of trade, man. Like it's just horrible.
But Toronto's, it's like the first round for a loner. Like, I've never really been a big fan of that idea. Like, I get you're gonna be picking in the high 20s, and that's like, let's just say a 25th overall pick, right? Whatever.
Yep.
I still don't even like that ideas, because if I were to sit there and go look at drafts for the last 10 years, I can pull up a bunch of guys, and I feel like I can't think of any that specifically between 20 and 30, but there's a bunch of players in there that between 20 and 30 that the Leafs would crave right now.
Yep.
Like those third line depth guys.
Yep. Well, that's why we don't have any depth.
Yeah, like, because that's one of the problems, like, Toronto's had for years, is like when we do have depth guys, and you've heard me go on about this in the Discord, is we get rid of those guys. I'm talking the Minton, the Steves, Holmberg. I loved Holmberg. I don't know what it is about him. I found him such a good little crafty player. And this year in Tampa, he had a killer year. Great care, great third line guy, fourth line guy.
Yep.
And then
to be honest with you, I'm looking at this Danford right now. This Ben Danford he's a right shot defenseman, stay at home defenseman, 6'2", 200 pounds, to 31st overall in 2024 entry level draft. Known as a shutdown defenseman with a high end blocking physical play. He signed a 3-year entry level contract. Blah 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 blah. He's played a key role for Canada in the 2026 World Juniors, winning a bronze medal. Traded to the Brantford Bulldogs. He actually plays for the Brantford Bulldogs shutout in October 2025. I don't know if he played for the Knights. He might have been. He's described by coaches as a heart and soul defenseman. Danford focuses on blocking shots, physical play, often modeling his game after Chris Tanev. So that's cool. And so, yeah, actually, you know what? He's more exciting than I thought he was at first. I really wasn't paying attention too much to their draft picks. So would that would have been another Dubas pickup, right?
I don't know. I think that was a Tree Living.
Oh no, that was a Tree. Yeah, but it would have been the same scouting kind of team that was going after them.
I don't know if he's been in the AHL this year or not. I thought he had some reps.
I can look right now. I can look. I think he's in the O. Let me see.
But yeah,
I think he's playing for Brantford right now, dude. Yeah, he's playing for Brantford right now, and he came from Oshawa.
Okay.
And he's got this year, he's got 37 games played, 2 goals, 14 assists for 16 points, and he's a
Yeah, that's what
He's
I
a
care about with
plus
McKenna.
12, and he's got 8 penalty minutes, so he's not even taking a lot of penalty minutes. He
No,
has
that's good.
before, but yeah, man, he's actually pretty good. And where did he play? He played in, yeah, he's pretty good anyway. So we got a good right shot defenseman. And how old is he though? I think he's only
19 or
20.
20.
He's
Yeah.
20. So that's what I mean. So we have him. So he could technically be a guy you build around, because you got to remember, Doughty was a guy that was taken in like at the same, almost at the same place. I think Drew Doughty was taken 28th or 26th. But like that's the thing about defensemen, is they take a little bit longer to develop. So you can actually steal a really top end defenseman at that late end of the draft. Crazy,
Well, I
man.
think they're like, and like I brought up Lane Hudson because I think if I remember right, like he was a 30th or in the 30s or in the 50s. It's one of those two, but he was a later
Yeah.
second round pick if I remember correctly, and look what he's developed into. And it's
Yep.
just, it comes down to scouting, and this is a thing. This brings me into a point that I've noticed with Toronto in the past, and this might be just my eyes and how I view things. With Toronto, anytime that we have, say, not superstar talent, like rookie. Okay, Marner, when we drafted Marner, Nylander, Matthews, they're thrown into a top 6 role, right? I'm not saying we need to take these, like say a Ben Danford or like these young guys and throw them into these heavy minute roles. But am I wrong when I say is a lot of these young talent, Toronto, they're in the AHL, but their time in the NHL is very minimal. Like where I see teams say like the Canadians and other like San Jose, and I could probably mention a couple other teams, but again, I don't watch every other team as much as I do Toronto. But they take the gamble on having those guys play like decent minutes and decent amount of time. Whereas at Toronto is when we do have those rookies, they're only like Cowan this year. Like Cowan wasn't like starting the year was playing 4th line minutes, man. Like I'd rather him be in the AHL playing 20 minutes a night than playing 9 minutes on the 4th line. And I feel like Toronto, that's what we do with some of those guys. Is either they stay in the AHL, have decent AHL numbers, and then we trade them, rather than just maybe move them and take the risk and say like with a defenseman, just put them in the top 4, bro. Like we should have did that with some of these guys a little bit more this year. But then again, I honestly, we didn't really have much in the cupboard, bud. But that's what the retool is Toronto needs to do. I feel like moving forward is I hope that's something that I see a little bit more with some of these prospects is like, say if Gavin McKenna is not NHL ready, which I've heard if we do get McKenna, but I'm not even sure what we got as far as draft pick this year. But say if we get like, some of those guys we got, like Denford, let's just throw him in the system, Nick. Let's just throw him in the NHL, dude. The only way you're going to get prepared for the NHL is having NHL reps. And I hope Toronto does that more and takes that from other teams. Just like, I don't expect us to be good next year. Let's be honest. But like some of those younger guys, get them in, man. Let's get them going.
Well, that's the thing though, is like you kind of expect Toronto to be good next year. That's not true, because if they're not going to rebuild, then they have to be good. And they're not, they don't have their 1st round pick, right? So I think, unfortunately, like for McKenna, can he play in the NHL? But we've also got a couple other guys on here that I'm looking at right now. Like we've got this guy, Verhoef Keaton, which is a 6'4", 212-pound defenseman out of playing North Dakota. So,
Verhoef?
and then you've also got, that's North American. And then you got Steinberg, which I know you want to talk about, Ivar Steinberg, 5'11", 183 pounds, left wing. So it's basically they play the same position, him and McKenna. Or there's also Smites Alberts, which is 6'3", 205-pound defenseman out of Germany. So I think those are probably the 4 picks there's got to be a debate around, I would assume, if you're the Leafs. I think McKenna, from what I understand, McKenna is the favorite to go 1st overall, though. Like, that's what I've heard about a lot of people saying.
It's a safe bet. That's like, I've heard so many different sides of this argument, more like political side, like almost a political view, meaning it's going to piss less people off in the Leaf Nation. And it's probably more of like the surefire. Like I've heard the example is you can say teach defense and teach other skills, but you can't teach high-end talent.
Yeah.
You can't, right?
Yeah.
That's the argument with McKenna. But with Stenberg, like I've heard Kevin Bukala talk about this a couple times on a couple different podcasts. And when he talks about Stenberg, that's his guy. And way he kind of words it, and I kind of think about it, is he is like the more complete player. He is he kind of used like, and he said this before, he's like, he's not comparing him to Barkov, but he reminds him of a Barkov type of player. He worded it like Barkov can go out there and put up 40 goals and do this and that, but he just doesn't. He just does the right thing, blah, 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 right? And that's what he kind of praises Stenberg with, is him playing in the SHL against adults and older people that are, much, more physical built than he is right now. He's
Cream of
still
the crop.
growing. Yeah, he's played a really excellent game, and a lot of Leaf fans and fans of hockey may look at his stats and go, 46 points or whatever he's had in 53 games. That's not that good. And you look at McKenna, who he's put up last year for in the OHL, I think he had over 130 points in 160 games. He's put up 310 points between the OHL and Penn State. I think it was something crazy like that. So he's going to put up points, but his size, the defensive side of the game is he almost reminds me of I haven't watched his mixtapes much, but I kind of get the vibe just hearing that he's almost reminds me of a Marner type, if that makes any sense. Small, shifty, excellent passer, smooth puck handling, can slow down the play, this and that. And I always felt like Marner could do that, right? Especially in Marner's early years, where I felt like he was more comfortable. In his later years with Toronto, I felt like that was slipping a little bit away from him, the smooth edge work and his ability to slow down the play a little bit. But yeah, McKenna's kind of like that. So with Stenberg, where I'm on the fence is I like the idea of having a more well-rounded, complete player.
Yep.
In his prime, he probably will be putting up, say, 80, 90 points, which is kind of really what the Leafs need, right? But McKenna, it's like the sexy Ferrari, man. It's just, there's a lot of upswing between him. He could be the face of the franchise. Willie's getting older. Matthews might be leaving. He could be the new face of the franchise. And I do like the idea of him, Knives, if we do keep Knives around, and Cowan, say, being on the top line. But I don't know if Cowan's not a natural center, I don't think. So either is McKenna, either is Knives. So we got to fill that center depth.
No, so basically, here's who we have when I'm just quickly looking. You have Gavin McKenna, which is an elite offensive creator, left winger. He's kind of a mix of Mitch Marner and Jack Hughes for creativity wise.
Is he a left-handed left winger or a right-handed left winger?
I'm honestly not sure, to be honest with you. I'm not sure if he's a lefty or righty. I'll look that up right now. I've got his thing open. Hold on.
Because I've seen a lot of his little
He's a left-handed. He's a lefty.
Okay.
He's a lefty.
Yeah, he is shit. I've seen him anyways.
But the thing is Steinberg's actually heavier than him listed right now. Steinberg's actually got fucking 13 pounds on him or something.
And he's
got right now. So no, they're same height.
Really? I thought he was 6 foot.
They're both 5'11". Right, and this could change. McKenna's 170, and Steinberg is 183. So and here's the other guys. Right now you got these two. Those are 1-2. Those are kind of the consensus right now that it's going to be either one of those guys. Steinberg, though, he could play on both sides. He plays left wing and right wing. McKenna's more of just a left winger. You've also got, so he's basically more of a complete pro right now almost. He's ready to go because he's been playing in that men's league. And then he's more of a William Nylander style, right? You've also got Caleb Mahoda. He's a two-way center. Sorry, Tra.
I've heard a lot of good things about him too.
Yeah, Vancouver's probably going to get him, I would assume, but he's a two-way center. He's kind of like Ryan O'Reilly from what I'm gathering here, and that would also. I don't think he's going to be the first.
His dad used to be a pro,
take
and
him,
his dad.
Yes,
I heard this. His dad's Manny Malhotra. So I forget where he had his his career, or if he had a career in the NHL. I might be misheard, but I know that he is coaching Abbotsford right now. So there could be a connection between Vancouver, Abbotsford, and Manny. I mean, sorry, Caleb.
Okay, yep.
So yeah, pick for.
Let's see.
I think if they do pick Caleb, they're because I've seen Caleb floating between 5 and 6, so that would be outside of the top 3. But I think for Vancouver that would make sense. But just because the connection,
I have a funny feeling they're going to. Yeah, I have a funny feeling if they pick him up, honestly. It just makes sense. But then you have two defensemen here. You have Carson Karls, which is more of a Morgan Riley style defenseman. He's really good elite puck mover. And then you have Keaton Verhoef, and
Bearhoff,
he's that
yeah.
big 6'4". Yeah, Bearhoff, yeah, and he's that big 6'4" two-way defenseman, Petrangelo kind of style, and he's got that shutdown defenseman portion to it, and that's what the Leafs need. That's legit what the Leafs need, and I've said that for a long time. That right, like, I don't know.
If the Leafs were to do something like that, is I would hope that they would get a little bit more creative than going from, let's just say, like Verhoff.
Yeah,
If he's
like trading
projected
down.
fifth, yeah, like I
Yeah.
hope they would trade and get an extra something out of that rather than just jumping, right? Because like essentially, Toronto's got the keys to McKenna right now, and that has value, and I'm sure they're aware of that. Even if
Well,
they
they're
get, yeah, like even if they were to consider Steinberg, I'm having a brain fart. The Swedish guy,
yeah.
Steinberg, right? Ivar Steinberg, I think was the name. I still hope that they would make a phone call to San Jose, man, and be like, "Hey, we're thinking about drafting him, McKenna." I don't know how that would work, but San Jose's got a. Well, I wonder if they would give up something for McKenna to get the first, maybe a little something.
So who do you think the Leafs do end up taking if you had to pick right now?
McKenna.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things.
do.
It's just it's just the safe choice, but it's also like he could be that next guy. Not saying he's gonna be, but he could be that next guy, that elite level talent.
I think McKenna is gonna be up there with like a Bedard, not Celebrini. I'm hoping. It feels like every couple years there's a talent that comes through that ends up being kind of a bust. Like Lafreniere a little bit. I'm not sorry, Rangers fans, but
Both
there
of
was a
them.
lot of hype
Kakko
with his
too.
number.
Kakko too.
Caulfield?
No, Kakko.
Yeah, he went second. Yeah, Casper.
But that's what I mean.
Kakko,
Bust.
Kasperi
Two
Kakko,
busts, right?
Yeah, he's on Seattle now, bro. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like that is, or like I hate to say it, like kind of like a JVR. JVR went second overall, and I've never was really the biggest JVR fan, to be honest with you. But
he's still a grinder though. Like he still gets. I know he wasn't that elite talent for sure. I know what you mean though.
No, but if you go look at that draft, like second, there's a lot of. But anyways, that's a long time ago. But no, like the one thing too I thought was interesting is if the Leafs do pick Steinberg, like I feel like this is also one of the reasons why I feel like they're going to pick McKenna. Because I feel like there would be a group of Leaf fans out there that would criticize Sundin for taking the Swedish guy.
Yeah.
And not, you know what I mean? So I feel like there's a little bit of that in there of why they're gonna sit there and tell you every day that wouldn't influence their decisions and this and that, but it fucking does, bud. We all know it. That's just the politics.
The crazy thing is though, you might see him slide to third.
Who's Steinberg or McKenna?
Yes. No, either or technically. If you're talking Toronto takes Steinberg, but I do think Toronto takes McKenna. So Steinberg could drop to third because San Jose has a ton of offensive talent and they need a really good back end guy.
They do. Yeah, in
order to go for that dynasty.
Did you see how pissed freaking the Sharks GM looked when they told him he got second overall? He did not look happy. I know that.
I know why though.
A lot of the dude, because he has to pay everyone. He's like, fuck.
Yeah. Like everyone comes. I mean, yeah, but it gives you a chance to actually run for a cup. Like, I mean,
I know,
now you can go out. You have the cap.
Celebrini. He's got freaking Michael Misa. He's going to have to pay in a couple years. He's got Will Smith. He's going to have to pay. He's got all these forwards, young, small forwards that he's going to have to pay out. And he's like, damn, what do I do with this shit? But yeah, honestly, they if San Jose probably should pick up like Verhoff or a defense, because like they don't. I don't look up their roster. I know Dangle and them. Their other team is the Sharks, and I've heard them touch base about the Sharks a lot. And they're going to be an exciting team to watch in the next couple of years. Yeah, that's funny because they look miserable to have that pick, man. Like honestly, but it is. I don't know. I think that was the steal of the lottery, dude. That moving from 9 to 2, not the Leafs moving from 5 to 1. They robbed freaking the Canucks.
Yeah, I know 100%. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's the thing. And if you want, everyone's like, oh, Toronto. If you want to blame anybody, you have to blame the Edmonton Oilers because they're the ones that the whole reason there's a draft lottery is because of the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The Oilers.
They got what, 5 out of 7? What was it? 5 out of 7 first overall picks or something crazy like that.
I
Like
think
it
in
was
8
insane.
years they picked top 5 7 times.
That's what I mean. It was something crazy like that, right?
So they had Taylor Hall
Bro,
first,
they
then
were
they had
they
Nuge Hopkins,
yeah.
and
They
then they got
rebuilt and
Bryce
then they
Little
rebuilt
third.
again.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah, man.
wild. Yeah. No, I know, man.
Anyways,
Oh, it's crazy. So anyway, I want to shift gears to Mr. Pele there. Like, do you think he's like kind of the head of the snake? Because that's what I'm starting to think about a little bit. Whereas with that, if we don't get rid of him, this is never gonna be it's never gonna this is never gonna get fixed. Or do you think that
yeah,
Shanny was the kind of head of the snake?
you just gotta keep him off the press conferences, man, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how long he's been in his position for the MSLE because it's not something like being a fan is like I don't look that deep into that
Yeah.
ownership group, right? But the press conferences I've heard him talk, he's just gotta shut up, man. But like from what I've heard of him and what I've seen out of him is I don't know, man. Like again, like what I started this conversation with is like the Leafs on the high end. I feel like screw with certain shit. I don't know what I can't explain it. Like there's just
Yo, let's
something with that group.
listen to this because I didn't know about this either. Keith Pele, in the early 2000s, he was asked by the then owner of the Toronto Argonauts, Howard Sahokski, and David Simon to become the team president and chief executive officer of the Canadian Football League team, succeeding Dan Farone. He accepted the position in 2003, and he was made CEO in 2004.
The
That's
MSLE.
crazy. MSLE, yeah, well, that's how he got into the organization.
Yeah. See, the thing is with him is
See, hold on.
he just
Okay, so yeah,
he doesn't know shit.
he was announced the new president of and CEO of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment on January 11, 2024, and officially began his tenure on April 2nd, 2024. Yeah, so really, actually, to be honest with you, he succeeded Michael Frizzaldi and was brought in to lead the organization which owns the Maple Leafs, Toronto FC, and Argonauts. So basically, he's been with the organization for 20 plus years, but he just became the president in 2024. So maybe he's not so much the head of the snake, but I don't know, man, because he hasn't been around that long. But I can tell you, he's got
a guy that I can look at, listen to him talk hockey, and this is what pisses me out. And like maybe there's other teams, I get it, because it comes down to business and money.
Yeah.
But he don't know shit about hockey. I don't care what you can sit there and try to convince me that he knows hockey. That guy knows how to make fucking money, and that's all he's good for. And having this team is the golden ticket to make tons and tons of fucking money. That sometimes with sports is I feel like to have like build a true dynasty or like build Toronto back to the success that we used to have like, yes, there wasn't as many teams, whatever, but is you need to have top down hockey guys. Like money guys do the money. Guys like him that represent the face of this organization have to eat, breathe the sport. Like, you see his press conference when, like, they're asking him about shit, and he's talking about, like, Montreal prospects and all these other prospects. But dude didn't even know who's in the fucking Leafs organization as a prospect. He's talking about Lane Hudson and shit. Just like, almost like, dude, people give him cue cards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just, maybe it's a long shot me saying that. Maybe he does know more, but I feel like as a fan and as the average fan would view that is they don't know anything. And sometimes that is what gets in the way of certain decisions and certain things actually, turning the tires in this organization, getting things like done, doing the hard things that need to be done.
So I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind a guy like that as long as he's just kind of the business. Because if you're a good businessman, great. But just leave the hockey stuff to just step back. Then, right? Just take a step back. So this is basically Chaika's and Sundin's team.
Let me just cut you off. Say if we got the keys right now to trade Matthews, everything's good. Do you think that Keith Pele and them would want that? Because think of it like this from a money. If we lost, would that not hurt the Leafs sales figure? Because I feel like at the end of the day, this is what I'm getting at with the business is they're too focused on projections and meeting certain projections. I think that's just straight business, I guess, right? They got to be here. If we do this and we see this, a plummet. And I feel like that's where sometimes is maybe that they will never admit this again. But I feel like there is some of that that hinders certain decision making or decisions and creativity actually just flowing naturally. Is like that idea. It's almost like a no go because of money.
Yeah,
Like
but I think that I have my one buddy that is a diehard Leaf fan like we are, right? Like he fucking destroyed the house last year when they lost. And one of the biggest things he was saying is he's like, I'm pretty much done with this team. Now that they've got the first overall pick, he's kind of like drawn back in.
back on the
But
bandwagon, baby.
But like that's where a lot of Leaf fans were at, man. They were done with this team for like, after the season we just had and the embarrassment and just like everything that they're just not caring almost, right?
This year, at the starting of the year, bro, I remember messaging you and saying that this team is not making the playoffs this year. And
Yeah.
I just had this feeling. And this year was the first year in many years since the damn start of the season that I could barely watch this team this year, bro.
Yeah.
Like it was not my main focus. I would have them up on a screen and I'd be focusing on other shit and just kind of look over and be like, fucking same shit, different day, right? Dumping, no chase, this, that.
Yeah.
Can't keep the fucking puck on our stick. Zone entries are meh. Like, God, you could really tell that we miss Marner, man. Having like,
Yeah.
I've seen like mixtapes of Matthews and stuff in some of our crap this year, and I'm like, God, like people are right. They don't have like that guy to carry the puck and set him up. Like I would watch Matthews give it off and then go into position and then he's going back the fucking other way, skating 200 feet. But more often than not. But yeah, it was just like unbearable to watch almost this year. And I think a lot of Leaf fans were ready to throw in the towel this year. I was almost ready to throw in the towel, bud. I started watching other teams in the playoffs this year, and it was enjoyable, man. It was just nice to not have expectation and just watch hockey. And at the end of the day, I really don't care who.
No, I agree. And I'm kind of was on the board of like, I would have preferred to keep Marner over Matthews. And I mean, that's easy to say now a little bit, but even last year, I kind of felt like that. I was mixed feelings about how Marner was leaving. Now look what he's doing in the playoffs. Now there's the debate like, oh, why couldn't he do this with the Leafs? But the talent level that he's been playing against just hasn't been like when he was playing in the Leafs. So I got to give him a little bit of credit for that. But listen to this, man.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
So overall, Toronto's all-time record without Matthews has been around 47, 26, and 4 to 51, 35, and 7, depending on the exact date or source cutoff, or whatever. This is just ChatGPT. I'm just trying to look up.
Toronto's wins without Matthews in the lineup. I know it's been.
So like Marner,
Very
my whole point of this is like Marner he controlled the team when Matthews wasn't there, and I think that if he would have had the chance to be the captain and the actual face of the Leafs, I think things might have been a little bit different here. To be honest with you, I don't know if they would have made it. I think they would have probably made it a little bit farther in a lot of these series. To be honest with you,
See, I always loved the idea of the Leafs having guys that like bleed blue and white, bro.
yeah,
Marner was
yeah,
and it broke my heart as much as I like Marner. I've always been kind of not the hugest Matthews guy. Out of Nylander, Marner, and Matthews, Marner with Nylander, Marner, that was my 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Nylander second, that's just me. But Marner is a guy that like he loved the Leafs, and I feel like. Yeah, he didn't have the results and certain shit in his playoff game wasn't as good at times, but look at him this year. There's not as much pressure and he's flourishing. And I think that's where it kind of hurt him, but everyone knows that now. Everyone knows that. But like you said, I kind of, in hindsight, I wish we would have figured out a way to got rid of Matthews and kept Marner, or maybe got a decent center back. You're never one argument is you're never going to get a good return for trading superstar talent, letting them walk like that. You're never, ever going to get, I heard I think it was Kipper made that argument and it makes sense.
Yeah.
You can trade Matthews, but you're not going to get something that's going to replace Matthews. Let's face it. You're not going to get that elite gold scoring. Could you get someone that has good defensive upside like Matthews? Possibly. I'd have to look around the league and see who's available, but I feel like there's something out there.
Yeah, but if you got rid of Matthews, let's say, hypothetically here, like if we would have got rid of Matthews, kept Marner, you could have moved Tavares up to 1C because he is technically a 1C. And then you could have went and got Kadri. You could have went and got traded for Kadri off Calgary and got him signed in there or somebody else, you know what I mean? But again, Kadri is another one that bleeds blue. Like I don't give a shit what anybody says. I love Kadri, you know?
I got his book, bro. I got his book.
Yeah, dude. Like I love Kadri. Like I've still got a soft spot for Kadri. and he had a target on his back in Toronto, and then went and won a cup, and we might see that with Marner this year. So
Or
it's
he's
just
gonna win
wild,
another
man, when
cup,
you look at
bud.
it. Yeah, well,
He's gonna win
I hope
another cup.
so. I
You
hope
know it.
so, bro. I really do. I hope he does. And that's the thing, and that's why I was hoping that we would bring him back to the Leafs even for this year to go on a run, but obviously that didn't happen with the way we were playing at the time.
He would
But
have been a
I don't
good
know, man.
serviceable guy for at least another 2 or 3 years. Like, just bring him in,
Yeah,
have him be like, kind of mentor guys like Cowan, because I can see
yeah.
Cowan morphing into a Kadri, man. If he gets a little bit of bite and snarl to him,
Well,
like,
that's kind
not
of
my thing is gonna be like that, but I can see Cowan having that. Like, if you look at, let's just say, Knives or Cowan, who's gonna be more likely to punch someone in the face? I feel like it's Cowan. I'm just saying. Like, I've seen Knives
I
do it.
love Cowan, man. I remember well, somebody said last year when he was in the Memorial Finals, he ended up losing, and he went off and he broke a stick in the tunnel, and somebody was like, "Oh, that's horrible. I hate seeing that." I'm like, "I love seeing that. That shows passion. That shows he wants to win. Like, I love seeing that shit. Like, I don't care. Like, be a little bit not right in the head a little bit, right? A little bit of
That's why
passion."
I kind of think McKenna would be good. Going back to the pick, man, McKenna, like him punching that guy in the face at the bar. I love that.
Yeah.
I fucking
Yeah.
love that. And
Yeah,
if
I think
he,
that
if he,
raises stock.
like, yeah, man. Like, to me, if some people would argue against that. I had an actual thing pop up in my news feed the other day, not sports news feed, in my Google, like, got Google phone. It gives me the Google Now crap or whatever it's called. And there's all this whole article about pending charge. I didn't read it, dude. And I was just like, I'm not going to read this because I do not want this shit in my brain about it being a possible hindrance or whatever you want to call it towards us getting him.
Yeah.
Because I honestly, I want McKenna to come.
Yeah.
I think, like, he should be on the Leaf, man. Like, that's just how
Well,
someone's
he's
got to
from the
replace.
area too, right?
He's from fucking Yukon, bro. He's from
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Whitehorse.
Sorry. Yeah. No, sorry. Yes, he's a West Coast guy. My bad. Sorry. Yes.
Man.
No,
I don't even say he's West
that's
Coast.
why.
He's
Yeah,
like
that's why it was such a
north,
big deal. That's right. Sorry. Yeah.
north.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but this kid, I mean, the kid's special. He's Bedard's cousin, all that kind of stuff too. Kid's special for sure, man. But I want to talk about Chaika for a minute because, like, I know there's a lot of bad to him, obviously, and there's a lot of stuff going on, but I think that this could actually be a good redemption spot for him. Like, if he can turn this club around, and there's a reason he got hired at 26. Obviously, that's his biggest accomplishment, but there is got to be a reason that, he was brought in to be the GM at 26 years old.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be Dubas 2.0.
Yeah.
Maybe a more aggressive Dubas. From what I've heard about him being analytical and this and that, and if you go look at, like, he was pretty aggressive with a lot of trades in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Some trades are very questionable, but with the circumstances that he had, I think I kind of understand that. And, him being, like, he was 26. He's 30. He's younger than me, dude. Like,
He has no
36.
internal cap hit there, though. He has no internal cap hit.
No,
Where in
but
Arizona, he had one.
Arizona was doing weird shit where they were, like, trading for guys that were retired just to meet the floor and crap. You know what I mean? I think that was a little bit of that during his run, or maybe that was before Chaika. But you know what? I know there's a lot of hate on it, but I feel like everyone deserves a second chance. And I say that from experience. I've made mistakes in life. I'm sure everyone's made mistakes in life. And I've had guys give me second chances. And I feel like I've done nothing but prove myself since. So it could be good for him. Like, I hope that all the mistakes or whatever he has made, he's learned from them. And I think it's going to be good for the Leafs. If anything, the Leafs on that level, I feel like need to get younger or have hockey guys. It's either one of the two. Have younger guy. I like Dubas, man. I never had a problem with Dubas. Yeah, there's some shit he did that people be like, oh, well, but name me a perfect fucking general manager in the league right now, dude. There's no one.
With Dubas though, how many of those decisions were him, right? How much pressure was he getting to win now every year? It's like, I like Dubas too. If you go look at some of the draft picks he got, he made some really good picks while he was in Toronto. He made some really good moves. I think that I don't like that he was the guy negotiating his first year Marner's contract against a guy, against an agency that Marner was their biggest fish, so they needed to get him paid. So I wish we would have kept Lou for another season or two.
I've heard Marner's agency, they're sharks, man. They go for.
They are.
They go
no,
for
Marner's agency though. their other biggest fish at the time was Taylor Hall. So they wanted to make Marner's contract be like a staple and almost a selling point to other athletes to join them. So that was a big fucking thing about this. The biggest thing that I always say with that is that Marner should have been signed the year before. They had him at he wanted around $8 million, a little over $8 million. And they said, no, we'll wait till the season. And his season, he blew up. Matthews had signed. He had signed after that, and he had more points than Matthews did. And that was the big thing at the time. And so that's where we got into this situation we're into now. So we'll see what happens though, man. But I'm hopeful for Chaika, and I'm glad Sundin's there. I'm a big fan of that. I've heard mixed things about that too, but I like the Sundin's in there.
I agree, because hearing him on they had him born in Kipper.
Yep.
And every time it was born asking him a lot of questions, and his answer was like, would you be involved in this process? He's like, yep. Would you be involved in that process? Almost everything. He seems like he's going to be very involved. And I think for the organization, that's a good thing. Having him around, I hope he brings in some other guys. I have a feeling Ty Domi's going to get hired as some rule. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't know where. I'm just going to put that out into the ether.
Yeah.
And there's another person I've heard they're considering hiring. It's at the tip of my tongue. But I've heard he used to be an ex-Leaf player, I believe. But I've heard very good things about, he works with players through player development. And I've heard very good things about them. And there was I forget what team has interest in him. And now that Sundin's involved, Sundin being close with him, they're going to bring in this ex-player for player development. And I think that would be good for a lot of the young guys. Oh man, this is going to bug me that I can't remember this player's name now.
Listen, so Sundin his role is senior executive advisor of hockey operations, and he's assists obviously to turn around the club. He's going to be right in advice. He's basically, it says he'll advise on team culture and leadership. So, he's going to be right in there and stuff like that. So I'm pumped for that. And I think with the situation we're in now, we got to try to go win now. I just don't want to see them trade any more future away to try to go win now. I prefer to them to start personally. Like I said, I kind of prefer them to either run with McKenna, get him in there, get him started, get, Cohen hopefully takes another step. Nyzy takes another step, have Matthews. When you look at their top six right now, it is pretty solid, to be honest with you.
They do have a good team. My only
on paper,
thing the Atlantic is getting. The only thing I could think hinders Toronto's making the playoffs, let's say next year, is how fucking good the Atlantic is becoming. Because we still got Tampa, that's going to be probably just as good.
Yeah.
Montreal is looking ridiculous. Buffalo is on the upswing. So the only two teams that are left that I don't think are going to have great success next year, and this is me calling it early, is Ottawa and Detroit. And then the other five teams, like freaking Florida won the cup last year and they're picking ninth this year.
Yeah.
Florida is probably going to be good too. So it could be
Florida had a lot of injuries this year too.
Yeah. Toronto. Yep. Toronto. Yeah. Florida and so did Toronto. Don't forget that Toronto had a lot of injuries too. And if we're a lot healthier, I could see Toronto being a 2-3. But I could also see them being a 4-5. And if I think it's going to be 1 through 5, the Atlantic, and it's going to be 3 Metro teams making the playoffs next year. It's just who's those 5. Maybe Boston's out, Detroit and Ottawa, but and that depends on what Toronto does and how healthy these guys are and how healthy they remain. It's still, up for debate. But if they stay healthy, they're definitely a playoff team, man, for sure. We still as much as people criticize our goaltending, Wool is still a decent goalie with decent numbers. I think the league save percentage this year averaged at .903, man. That's one of our, I think if I heard correctly, that was one of our lower years in the last couple of years.
Well,
so Wool,
I don't know.
Stoli still are floating around there. 903, 90 something, 905.
I'm gonna look right now because I actually want to see that. So let's go to regular season here. Hold on. So let's see. So Vasilevsky led the league. Yeah, but Vasilevsky led the league this year with a 912. Oh wait. Okay. Sorry. Here we go. So how many games does this show? See, there's a bunch of guys. Oh, yeah, Wedgwood. Wedgwood had played pretty good, and I know he's playing pretty good in the playoffs right now. He had a 921 save percentage in the regular season, but played 45 games. He had Minnesota's goalie. He's good too, this Waldstein. He had a 916 as well. Yeah, Waldstad, yeah. He's good too. And then, let's see. Vasilevsky 912 with 58 games played. Save Logan Thompson.
Yeah, so the league average, I might be right about that. I don't know if I heard that was across the goalies that made the playoffs. the average was, let's just say we take.
Well, let's see Toronto here. I'll pull up actually Toronto's team and see what they're saying. So
I think
Toronto's
Lowell was a 902 if I remember.
Toronto's goalies, yeah. So Toronto's goalies were basically, yeah, actually they had 5 goalies play this year. So you had Stolars. Stolars played 26 games. Or sorry, 25 games. No, 26 games. And he had an 89.3 save percentage, so not in a 328 goal against average. Joseph Wall he played 39 games. He had an 89.9 save percentage with a 334.
Okay,
no,
so
that's still not bad.
No,
I mean, they got to improve a little bit, but. And then you had Hildeby though. Hildeby though had a 914 and he had 286. So Hildeby might dude. Hildeby is no joke either. Like he's how old is he? Let me see. He's been a Leafs dude, and he's 6'7", bro. Hildeby.
Yeah, the Hildeby.
And he went 5-1 with 20 games played, 1 shutout. I mean,
the thing is about Hildeby is he's got good AHL numbers too, from what I remember.
He's only 24 years old. This is a guy, bro. Toronto's got their future goalie already.
Yep. See, that's another question. Maybe we talk about this next
You know what? Bro, to be honest with you, the Leafs aren't as bad as everyone says they are. When I'm looking over their prospects, they're not that bad. Like they need defense. They need defense, right? They need that true number 1 defenseman because Morgan Riley's not that guy. He was for a little bit, but he's not that guy anymore. We need a true number 1 defenseman.
Remember the player that Leafs were talking about maybe bringing in to help develop some of these guys, Brian McCabe.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. The other guy I wish they would go get, dude, is Gary Roberts. Like, get him in the organization. He just develops so many good players.
Isn't he a lot?
He's got it.
I heard a Gary Roberts interview a couple years ago, I think, and I don't know if he is doing stuff with Carolina or what he's doing.
Yeah, he might be. But
nowadays.
It's crazy the Leafs don't sign him, man. What's he doing now?
I think he is in player development, though.
I want to see.
Be a Florida Panther player developer.
Hold on. Yeah, he has his run. He runs his high performance training business, Gary Roberts Performance in Toronto, in Maple, Ontario. That's hilarious. So he focuses on he's focusing on elite athletic training for NHLers, including Connor McDavid and top prospects. He is also heavily involved in player development and recently consulted for the Toronto Maple Leafs regarding a potential management role. So that's why. So they were talking to him. So I got to give him credit for that. That's good. So as of 2025, he serves as the director player of development for the Brantford Bulldogs. So he's also a part of the Bulldogs there too. Yeah. So I don't know why the heck he didn't join the Leafs, but basically he does his own thing, and then he's in the OHL, and then he was looking into a team. So I would like to see Roberts part of the Leafs organization eventually.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not just for the nostalgia, like me talking about bringing extra in. It's not nostalgia. So anybody that might watch this, I'm not saying that because nostalgia factor. Guys, like, I hear this. The thing is with the Leafs is, and I think I've heard people say this too before, but they're the big dogs, man. Like, you got to throw their big dog weight around a little bit, man. Like, and I feel like they don't do that sometimes. It's like, I feel like if any team can make shit happen that's outside the salary cap, I don't know if there's an internal salary cap or not. There might be one set by the MSLE, but
no, not
I don't
for the
think
Leafs.
There's an NHL internal salary cap, right? So meaning that if they're profiting $2.3 billion at the end of each season or whatever their profits are or whatever, throw their weight around, man. Get guys like that, right? Bring in the best scouts. One person, every time I hear him on the radio or on my podcast, I love listening to Kevin Bukala talk. He helps. I believe he's with the Florida and does scouting. He owns his own scouting firm or whatever, works with Florida. He's helped Florida draft and develop their team in the past. I might not have all his credentials correct. Again, not insider. But like a guy like that, throw some money at him, man. How much you making over there? Okay, we'll double it. Like, we'll make let's make it happen, man. Like some of these guys that I hear talking, like, they have results, like, right? So bring in some more of that shit. Player development, fitness guys, bring in the best, man. I know people will be like, oh, they do have the best. There's always room to improve, man. People get complacent.
Dude, they were estimated to make $191 million USD to operate for operating income and roughly $375 million in USD income is what the Leafs made last year, or in 2024, 2025. So insane. They're
If
valued
you
at
pay
$4
me,
billion.
I'll sweep your guys' floors for free.
No,
I
man, I
will
know, it's
mop the floor
crazy.
for free just so you can
Crazy, man.
fire the or somebody and save that income. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. I feel
Now,
bad.
what's your thoughts on the coach? Like, do you think Berube is a guy? Do you think it's time for a coaching change, or do you think you're gonna see them run with this coach next year?
I feel like we missed the window on maybe. I was following this a little bit more when before the playoffs started, but I felt like there were some good coaches out there. Like imagine John Tortorella, dude, on
Yeah.
the Leafs.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Berube is going to be the coach next year. I'm almost sure of that from what I'm hearing the
Yeah.
rumblings. Do I like it? No. And and one argument I hate, and they're even talking about this with like bringing Doug Armstrong as the GM and shit. When we're talking about that, what coaches? How many coaches can you name right now that have won one cup with one team and come in and won a cup with another team? There's only two,
Yeah.
I think. Scotty
Yeah.
Bowman and my history. I'm not up, but. There's only two from what I remember. So statistically, that's like the one thing. Oh, Berube, hard guy, won a cup with the Blues. That's like one of the first three buzz pointers. When you're trying to sell Berube to me, that's one of the three. Saying that, what I said about coaches who won once and won with another team, statistically, it doesn't happen. Yes, he won the
Yep.
cup, but it doesn't mean he's going to win us a cup. So that shouldn't be the selling point on why he should be coaching the Leafs. I don't think he's a right fit for the Leafs. I
Yep.
think our guy was Sheldon Keefe, man, but he hasn't had great results with New Jersey. But I like Kiefer. But there's coaches out there that I think would be suitable to replace. I don't know who's out there right now or who's going to be out there at the end of the season. But yeah, even maybe there's some good ex players out there who wanted to transition into coaching or some good AHL coaches.
I like Berube. I just don't know if he's the guy for this group of guys. I don't think he's a
I
bad
don't
coach.
think he's a good guy for rookies.
Yeah, well,
And if
I
we're
mean,
wanting to develop maybe like a McKenna and Cowan and stuff like that, I don't think he's the greatest guy for that.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know who's available right now either, to be honest with you. So I don't know.
Well,
Let's see.
isn't
Hold
Don?
on.
Who was the coach for Vegas that got fired? What was his name again? Don Sweeney?
I hate him
He's
though.
available, right?
No, he's horrible. He's a former Bruin.
Yeah, but if you like results, bro, he's like I guess that falls into he's won a cup. Gotta bring him
Yeah,
in,
I guess I know, but I don't know.
but he's a dude. Like I mentioned him.
Oh,
as
Bruce
if you look
Cassidy. You're
at-
thinking no, you're thinking of Bruce Cassidy.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
which
yes.
would be okay. So you got right now, Bruce Cassidy, Peter DeBoer, which I'm not a big fan of his either. LaFollette
He
and
got
Jay
fired, bro.
Woodcroft.
DeBoer.
Who did?
DeBoer
Oh,
went
DeBoer
to
got
the
yeah.
Islanders.
Yeah,
Nick,
yeah.
Patrick Waugh, bro. Let's bring in Patty Waugh. Let's go.
That's who I kind of thought. But
Okay, if
I
you
don't
look
know.
at his coaching history, when he was in the queue,
Yeah. Killed it.
he had a really, I heard a lot.
Every level.
He won in the queue. He
Yeah.
won the coaching in the queue.
Yeah.
And I think that the two, he was with Islanders, last year and then this year? Like,
Yeah.
dude, the Islanders are looking at their roster, dude. They're not like before Schaefer. They're not really necessarily an exciting team to look at on paper, in my opinion. Sorry, Islanders fans, or a very exciting team to watch from what I've heard. But he had good results for what they have, man. And I feel like Patrick Waugh would be a great type of coach. Like I can see him being hard ass, understanding the game. You know, like with Stolarz and Wolf being somewhat injury prone, maybe him being a previous goalie coming in, he can help those guys, like almost be like get the goalie bump going, right? Because so I don't know. That would be something I would love to see the Leafs do, but I think before they ever pull the trigger on something like that, it's going to be too little, too late.
Yeah.
That's a problem with the Leafs have.
We'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, actually, after talking about this, I'm pretty pumped for the Leafs because they got a really good goaltender, young goaltender. They got McKinnon now, or not McKinnon, McKenna coming up, and they've got that defenseman too. That's pretty solid too. That they just drafted not too long ago. So you know what? I think the Leafs' future might be a little bit brighter than I even thought it was.
Yeah, like you got a chance. It's just also this year is we got some players like we can still add picks, man.
Yeah,
We can
Yep.
there's been a lot of talk about, like, say, Dakota Joshua had an okay-ish year.
Yep.
Like, I know we got some guys, like, I'm just floating fences, but maybe a Dakota caught Joshua for a third or something, or and that third ends up being like a decent.
It's going to be interesting to see what Chaika does once he gets working, right?
Yeah. When is the draft?
So,
Can you look it up?
it'll be
When,
the
like,
draft will
when
be
is
like
it
the end of
actually
June.
supposed to
The end
happen?
of June. I'll look it up quick here, though.
So is it after the Stanley Cup?
Yes.
Okay, so I
It's
for
like the
some reason,
beginning. It's like the end of June, beginning of July. I want to say.
I just my freaking brain was thinking maybe it was they just did 1 through 16 or something, and then I don't know.
For what?
Maybe they did something like that last year, but it wasn't. It was after the cup, but it was just because it took so fucking long. This
Hold on.
draft is going to be.
Yeah, it's June 26th, 27th. June 26th, 27th. Friday. 7 p.m.
So a month.
So yeah, it'll be
7 weeks.
yeah. Well, it's a month and a half. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, man. So I'm actually excited. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, if anything, I think we should save it till next week. So we have other stuff to talk about. Until then, let's just see. I can't really see. The talk of town right now is all, us hitting the lottery. So I can't really see much changing for the Leafs over the next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's save some of it for next week. So we have because I wouldn't mind talking about theoretical goalie trades, like with
Sure.
we're talking about Hill to be.
I think at this point we have our goalies. I know, but we could definitely move one of our goalies. But I think that honestly, at this point, I think that you give Hill to be the reins. I think a little bit here.
And Wool's going to represent U.S. for the World Championships.
Yeah. No, Wool's a good
May
goalie too,
15th.
man. I like Wool too. And the thing is about Hildeby and Wool, it's actually two guys that the Leafs have actually developed, which you haven't seen done in years, right? We always just pick up goalies. So interesting to see. So anyway, all right, I'm gonna get out of here. So this is We Bleed Blue, and you'll be seeing lots of our faces. So we'll talk to you guys later, and catch you later.
Take care, everyone.
Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't make it then. In their heads, living